He was born on an island, and he died alone on another. In between, he ruled the world. He wasn't a king. He wasn't born noble. But he made emperors kneel, reshaped nations, and changed the course of history. His name was Napoleon Bonaparte, and his story is one of glory, genius, and tragic obsession. Napoleon was born in 1769 on the island of Corsica, just months after it was conquered by France. He hated the French. He spoke Italian. He was an outsider. At 9 years old, he was sent to the mainland to study in military schools. He was poor, mocked for his accent, his origins, his size. But while others played, Napoleon studied history, strategy, power. He didn't want to serve an empire, he wanted to become one. By the age of 24, he was a general. At 26, he crushed Austria in Italy. And at 30, after years of chaos in revolutionary France, he staged a coup and named himself First Consul. France had executed its king. The monarchy was gone. The country bled from revolution. Napoleon promised order and glory. He reformed the law, stabilized the economy, built schools and institutions that still exist today. Then, in 1804, in Notre-Dame Cathedral, with the Pope standing before him, Napoleon crowned himself emperor. He didn't wait for a blessing. He took power with his own hands. From there, the world changed. Napoleon's armies conquered most of Europe: Austria, Prussia, Spain, Italy, even Egypt. His empire stretched wider than Rome's. His soldiers marched with discipline and terrifying speed. His enemies fell like dominoes. He was more than a general. He was a force of nature, brilliant in battle, ruthless in ambition. His presence on the battlefield was enough to turn the tide. Europe feared him. Some adored him. Others prayed for his defeat. But Napoleon believed he was guided by destiny. He said it himself, "Ability is nothing without opportunity." And he made his own opportunities. But no man rules forever. In 1812, Napoleon made the fatal decision that would break him. He invaded Russia. He marched in with over 600,000 men, the largest army Europe had ever seen. The Russians refused to fight. They burned their cities and retreated deeper into the cold. Napoleon entered Moscow expecting surrender. Instead, the city burned, and winter came. His army froze, starved, died in droves. Of the 600,000, fewer than 10,000 returned. It was a disaster, the beginning of the end. By 1814, Paris fell. Napoleon was forced to abdicate. The Allies sent him to exile, not to a prison, but to a small island off the Italian coast, Elba. But this was Napoleon. In less than a year, he escaped. He landed in France with just a few men and began to march north. The army sent to stop him, they joined him. The people cheered. Paris opened its gates. For 100 days, Napoleon ruled again. Europe trembled. But the Allies responded quickly. On June 18, 1815, near a Belgian village called Waterloo, Napoleon met the British and Prussian armies. It rained. His cannons were stuck in the mud. He hesitated. The battle turned. He lost. This time, there would be no second exile in Europe. They sent him to the edge of the map, to the remote island of Saint Helena, deep in the South Atlantic, windswept, isolated, escape-proof. There he lived under guard. No empire, no throne, no return. Napoleon spent his final years dictating his story, rewriting his legend. He blamed others for his fall. He spoke of glory, of fate, of France. In 1821, he died at age 51. Was it cancer? Slow poisoning by the British? We may never know. But Napoleon didn't disappear. He became myth. To some, he was a tyrant, a warmonger, a dictator. To others, a genius, a reformer, a symbol of progress. He changed Europe forever. He brought civil law, centralized power, and a legacy that inspired leaders and dictators for centuries. Today, he lies under a golden dome in Paris, at Les Invalides. Tourists walk past his tomb in silence. But the shadow of the eagle still lingers. He rose from nothing. He crowned himself. He shook the world. And in the end, he fell, not to armies or kings, but to time itself. Was Napoleon a hero, a monster, or simply a man who believed he could control destiny? Because history remembers names, but legends never truly die.